Okay, I was initially motivated to start EarthSense back in, I want to say it was late 2006. And EarthSense is an applied marketing company. What we do is we gather information and then we make it very actionable for end users. And I was motivated to do this because I looked out in the space and I realized that nobody was combining the data in a way that would make it most efficient. And it was very frustrating. So I thought that I could do better. And that's basically why I started the company. And when I spoke with Amy Hubbard, who's my partner, about this situation, the two of us realized very quickly that if we looked out in the space, and especially in the new space of green, which was just starting to peak at that, not even, it was starting to bubble really at that time of consciousness, we realized that in the world of the environment and green consumers, you can't use traditional demographic data to find people, because green knows no age, sex, ethnicity, it knows nothing of that. It's more attitudinal and an awareness of where you live and what you have access to. And so I went, aha! We have a solution for a problem that's just going to get bigger and greater. And that's why we formed EarthSense, to really make sense of the world around us. And not just for the environment, but the environment seemed like, ooh, this is a good one. But it's not like we were tree huggers looking to solve the world. We're more analysts and data folks looking to take our techniques and to apply them to problems. In kind of a backwards way, the things and the people that motivated me most were the people that didn't believe what we could do, what we could pull this off. When you ask, when I think about the things that made me keep going versus the things that maybe strengthened my conviction, there are luminaries in this industry, in the market research industry, who are part of our team. We've just been so fortunate that we've been introduced and supported by people that in a previous life I never would have met. But because I'm in a position where I'm running the company and I basically took the initiative and the money out of my own pocket, basically, they know that I'm serious. The idols I have are the people whose brains put things together that I don't see. Traditional market researchers interview people and look at the results within a set of the actual analysis. What we're working on and working towards is the concept that you take a respondent and you don't just look at that respondent in light of, I'm not even talking individuals, groups of respondents. Don't look at them in terms of just their age, income, sex, race, and what you ask in the questionnaire. Enhance that questionnaire with a lot of data about what we call exographics, which are things that are basically what surrounds the community. As a market researcher, you would say, oh, there's a lot of opportunity here in Delaware because you'd only see one part of the picture. So what we're trying to do is take all that ancillary data and not only help understand and tighten up where an opportunity might be, but help explain why that opportunity exists. So if you wanted to say, I always use pizza as an example, or snowblowers. I work for a company, that's a good one. I work for a company and they would use a system to describe people, a neighborhood system. People would buy snowblowers. And when they would model this data into maps, they would show that people in the southern part of the United States had very similar characteristics to the ones in the northern part of the United States. But you'd have to use your brain to think, oh, well, there's no snow down there, so I don't think they'd be buying snowblowers. Well, weather is important, land use. You start looking at all those different variables, and suddenly it makes sense. So we're building this huge database called the Living Lab, and the Living Lab is going to allow us to append that information to any type of survey we do. So if we want to study, why people get diabetes, for example, it may be that they're in areas where there are more X, Y, and Z. I don't know what it is. But now all these things are being built into the system, so it's much easier to get the data out. And I'm not as concerned about privacy issues because we don't look at individuals, we look at groups of people. We're trying to look for patterns among groups. Sources for innovations and the types of information tools that I use to grow, to build EarthSense, to grow it, to bring this to fruition. I used everything at my fingertips. LinkedIn is one, in a professional network. LinkedIn, I think the day it came out or the day after I read about it, I was on. But for me, Facebook seemed like, ooh, that it just seemed not
As
professional. So Twitter I've been on. Yeah, but the professional you want. But now with Facebook, what's so cool about it is that as it's matured through the years, the site can be used. I'm now connecting with colleagues with old classmates, people from former years that actually are great for business, plus on a very personal level. So I could pick up the phone and ask them about business just because I know what's going on in their lives, and they could do the same to me. So this little group has grown in a way that I wouldn't do on LinkedIn. I show my other side. In terms of blogs, I've read other people's blogs, several of them. Joel McCower is one, a gentleman that writes is greenbiz.com. I write a little bit, certainly not as enough as I should. When it comes to sites that I might use, I'm thinking there's a tool that used to be called eLibrary, eResearch, and it's over time, again, one of those first subscriber things. It's not called HighBeam. And HighBeam aggregates data. You can search from hundreds of magazines, like $200 a year. I use that. I use the J.J. Hill Library, which is a great resource out in Minneapolis for business owners. The other thing that's so cool is I actually ran a website that had demographic data on it. That was part of my other business. So people would buy reports from me on this system, and I would constantly get calls from people that wanted some more information. So I learned a lot because I sort of put myself out there.
Sure.
Plus, I got a call one day from a guy who said, he called and I gave him some free information, and he said, you really should join this Association of Independent Information Professionals. He said they could really, use your help. So I joined them, and basically they're a bunch of crazy ex-corporate librarians. They're all independent. They don't want to work for it, and they're wonderful. So you want to talk about having a cool resource. We have a listserv, so if you want to know something, these people aim to please.
Yeah.
As do I. They're on it. So you ask a question, and everybody's like, let me see if I can help you. Yeah. So the connection, it was well worth it. I did not use my library, and I'll tell you why. Because I escaped to my library to get a little peace and quiet when I was writing now and then. But I've worked from home for so long that I know how to cut out distractions, and I'm fairly technical. So I can pretty much find anything I want on my own machine, Although I think the library is a phenomenal resource. Oh, yes, I should say, yes. There is, and it's an online, it actually is a physical place in Minneapolis. It's the J. Hill, it's either J.J. Hill Library or J. Hill Library. Hill Library Research is what I keep thinking of it. And it's a subscription-only site, and what's so cool about that group is if you have a question and you don't mind paying a little extra, they will do your research for you, which is kind of great too. I was subscribing to JJ, the Hill Library, Hill Research Library, and which is about, I don't know, $600 a year. And again, it's another one of those stupid things that most small businesses don't do that, but I really do value information. And when we started the business, I really wanted to learn a lot. So there were two things I did. I had one of the AIIP, the Information Professionals. I met somebody there who was just loving what we did. We got along so well. She did some surveys for me, or searches, I should say, through Dialogue and LexisNexis and all those tools. But I had the J.J. Hill Library, which most professionals consider kind of a less than professional tool.
Oh, really?
And using J.J. Hill, I never would have found this article. You just don't find it on the web. You have to subscribe to an information source, and you have to actually be willing to read what you search on. Some people on our team really thrive on routine and being able to improve their efficiencies within a set of constraints, and that is just not my I don't like it. Yeah, it's not my at all. I have to have the unexpected. I have to have a problem that really frustrates me to tears at times in order to feel the sunshine and the relief on the other